Good, happy Friday morning, April 2nd, 2021. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday morning, so let's begin. First up, let's take a look at your COVID-19 numbers in New Hampshire. And here is a check of those COVID-19 numbers in New Hampshire. There are 42,539 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. There are 1,245 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And there are 81 current number of hospitalizations for COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And that is a look at your COVID-19 numbers in New Hampshire. Guidance issued for parents as anyone age 16 or older set to be eligible for vaccination. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Does your boiler or furnace vent into your chimney? The majority of chimney flues in New Hampshire are actually used to vent oil and gas heating appliances.
With 17% of the state now fully vaccinated against COVID-19, New Hampshire's youngest eligible group will sign up for a shot beginning tomorrow. Anyone 16 and older can register on vaccines.nh.gov.
The vaccines are safe and highly effective, and they're really the best way to protect yourself, your family, your community, and will help us all return to a more normal life.
Pfizer is the only FDA-approved vaccine for anyone who's 16 or 17 years old. Not every site has that vaccine in stock.
When registration opens tomorrow, there will be a list of which locations have Pfizer. You can see those on the screen. So you can go ahead and select an appropriate location if you're 16 or 17 years old.
A parent or legal guardian will be required to accompany 16 and 17-year-olds to vaccine sites. If teens don't have a driver's license, officials say to bring a birth certificate or passport as proof of age.
And then the parent needs to bring their own license or another accepted document in order to prove that New Hampshire residency.
As vaccine supply increases week by week, more sites will be added. The state says 45 pharmacy locations are administering vaccines, plus the fixed sites across New Hampshire. Governor Sununu calls it a relief to be at this stage.
There's no victory lap. We're in those final miles of the marathon, but we're feeling good. We can almost see the finish line from here, which is pretty exciting.
You'll find a list of the sites with the Pfizer vaccine on the WMUR website and mobile app. The state says nearly 100,000 appointments have been registered so far this week through Vinny, with thousands more expected tomorrow. Reporting live in Concord, Mike Cronin, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire schools told to offer 5 days of in-person class learning by April 19th. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
But just all know we need to get our kids back into schools for not just for educational reasons, for mental health reasons, for socialization.
Governor Sununu made the announcement. K through 12 schools must return to full in-person learning 5 days a week, starting Monday, April 19th, the week before many April vacations, saying a remote option will still be available, that children are low risk, and that teachers would be vaccinated.
In a few short weeks, all teachers and school staff who want the vaccine will have received their second dose. So we're well underway in providing that rollout for the vaccine.
But teachers' unions say not all educators and staff will be fully vaccinated in time, that many districts were making plans for a full return in early May.
Why can't we wait those extra 2 weeks? We want to be back in the schools. No one wants to be back in more than the educators and the kids. We want to be there. We've just been advocating for the safe return.
The NEA says school districts should be allowed to set their own timelines because there's so much to consider on a school-to-school basis. In a statement, the American Federation of Teachers New Hampshire says the governor did not mention a plan for those schools which cannot achieve at least 3 feet of social distancing due to the size of the school and student population. What about social distancing on buses or in the cafeteria?
Right now, all schools are offering at least 2 days a week in-person learning. The state says about 60% are full-time so far. Live in the studio tonight, Jean Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Town leaders link COVID-19 case rise to economic factors. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
As the old saying goes, there really is no place like home. From tiny milestones to the unforgettable moments that define our lives, it all starts with a home. And there's no one more trusted than Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate to help move into the right home or move on from your current home. Expect better. Start by calling or contacting Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, the Masiello Group. www.masiello.com. 800-741-1540.
The state's COVID dashboard continues to show comparatively higher rates of infection in the more heavily populated southern part of the state, including in communities like Plastow along the Massachusetts border.
The activity has been consistent, and we knew that Haverhill in the Merrimack Valley, Lawrence, and other places had some higher numbers, but, we also saw the traffic continue to come across the border.
But we're also seeing scattered small towns like Greenland suddenly jumping, a 7-day positivity rate over 17%.
I think it's just a matter of people getting out more and, they're more active going to gyms or going out to eat or whatever.
There are other factors in play, though. While overall case numbers in places like Manchester and Nashua are understandably bigger, the rate of new cases per 100,000 population are actually higher in some towns like Epping and Raymond, for reasons town officials say go beyond nice weather and COVID fatigue.
But I think there's realities here. It's not about geographics. It's about economics.
Raymond's town manager says his community has been on pace with Manchester for several months because communities with lower household income averages tend to be at higher risk for reasons ranging from more congregate living to higher risk service industry jobs.
You can't telecommute and, wire a house. You can't telecommute and work in the construction industry.
The Raymond town manager says he's also concerned because the smaller communities that are less economically advantaged, the numbers there tend to drop off much less quickly. We're live in Portsmouth. Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Man dies during exchange of gunfire with police in Claremont, AG's office says. Let's take a listen to that video.
Does your boiler or furnace vent into your chimney? The majority of chimney flues in New Hampshire are actually used to vent oil and gas heating appliances. These flues need to be
Jessica, the Attorney General's office is not releasing the name of the man who was killed, but they say it began when Claremont police responded for a report of shots fired. Following the police response, the state police SWAT team was called in to assist. Now, according to the AG's office, the man had barricaded himself inside a building at 247 Sullivan Street. The AG's office says that there was an exchange of gunfire between the man and the troopers, resulting in the man's death. It's unclear at this point how many shots were fired, but no one else was physically injured. Now, the troopers involved did not have body cameras or dash cams, but I just spoke with the city manager in Claremont, and he says that the bulk, if not all of their officers and vehicles are equipped with cameras. An autopsy is scheduled today, after which time, once that's complete, the AG's office says they'll release some more information. Reporting live, Ray Brewer, WMUR News Now.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. After shots, when are you considered to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19? Let's take a listen to that video.
For the easy and the complex, the small stuff and the big, we're here with the affordable local loans, easy to manage accounts, and financial advice to help you blaze a trail, figure stuff out, and make your money go farther. We're Granite State Credit Union. Live bold.
With the vaccination numbers rising, I know obviously there's 3 different types of vaccines. So when should people feel confident that they're fully protected once they've had their vaccine?
2 weeks after receiving their second shot, the CDC and the FDA recommends that that's when your antibodies have built up. I'm going to look to Dr. Chan. I think it's still a 2-week recommendation. Yeah, why don't you come up?
Or after the single dose of Janssen.
Or the same 2 weeks after the single dose of Janssen. That's correct. The Johnson & Johnson. Or after the second shot, not the first shot. There actually have been unfortunate cases of folks getting that first shot but still contracting COVID with some pretty drastic results. So you really need that second shot. There's some studies that might show that your immunity gets a little more boosted after the first shot, but you are not fully protected like you need to be. And there have been some unfortunate cases there. So you need the second shot plus a little extra time for those antibodies to build up.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Deadly office shooting leaves 4 dead, including 1 child. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Challenging times are nothing new. Neither are resilient people. There's strength in every family story. Learn more about yours at Ancestry.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Thursday night. And we begin with that awful mass shooting, the 3rd now in less than 3 weeks in this country. Authorities in front of the cameras just a short time ago, this time at an office complex in Orange, California. 5 shot, 4 people killed, including a 9-year-old boy. Police have said they believe he might have died in his mother's arms. The first calls coming in of shots fired around 5:30 last night, West Coast time, reporting active gunfire as the first officers arrived. A bystander live streaming as teams rushed to the scene. Today, authorities said the suspect locked the gates at that complex with bike locks, trapping those inside before firing into the windows. Police firing at him from outside. Cutting the lock, they then found the gunman injured inside and the bodies of the 4 who did not survive. And then, of course, the images of loved ones, of neighbors comforting one another as investigators worked into the night. Police say this was not a random act of violence, that the gunman knew the victims. Again, authorities taking questions just moments ago, and ABC's Kaylee Hartung on the scene in California tonight.
You should be careful. They're shooting. There's a shootout. You should back up.
A horrific scene in Orange, California, unfolding on a bystander's live stream.
There was about 10 gunshots. The cops are running right there. Look at that.
Officers running to this office complex. Police say the gunman used bicycle locks to seal off the building's courtyard before his rampage, killing 2 women and a man in 3 separate locations, also shooting another woman and killing a 9-year-old boy in the courtyard.
And it appears that a little boy died in his mother's arms as she was trying to save him during this horrific massacre.
Sounds like we have shots fired. Let's make sure we have a good staging location.
Police engaging in a shootout with the gunman, then using bolt cutters to break the locks.
Once they were able to gain access in there, they immediately found the suspect. They took him into custody.
This video shows police pulling someone out of the complex. The shooter identified as 44-year-old Aminadab Gaxiola Gonzalez.
The motive, as far as we know, is just a personal and business relationship that has gone south.
And not a random act of violence.
Absolutely correct. Not a random act of violence.
And Kaylee Hartung with us tonight from the scene. And Kaylee, we know officials say the alleged gunman knew his victims, but do we know anything more at this hour about whether these were family members or professional colleagues?
Well, David, authorities haven't yet identified any of the victims for us, but they say each of them had a personal or a professional relationship with the gunman. And just moments ago, Orange police sharing this surveillance photo with us as the suspect carried out the attack. You see that semi-automatic handgun, and in that backpack slung over his shoulder, officials say they recovered ammunition, handcuffs, and pepper spray. David, the district attorney here says he will pursue the death penalty. David.
Just one more awful scene in this country. Kaylee Hartung leading us off tonight. Kaylee, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here.
Okay, and there you go on that news report. And thank you for joining us for this edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a wonderful day, everyone, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.